Good morning, everyone. My name is Peggy, otherwise known as Florida Plant Mama, and I garden here in my backyard in Zone 10A, Central Florida. The weather this morning is beautiful. I can definitely feel the coming of fall. We have been reaching lows in the probably mid 70s at night right now, mid to low 70s at night, and all this week we are forecasted to be in the high 80s, mid to high 80s. And there's forecasted some rain this week as well. So I figure this might be the perfect time to direct sow some seeds. Direct sowing seeds will give me a little bit of a jump start on the season, if they fare well, that is. And it'll save me the trouble of starting seeds in bags, in trays, up potting, and then hardening off and then transplanting. So if the seeds do well, it'll actually save me a little bit of time. So I'm gonna give it a try. I do a little bit of direct sowing every season. Sometimes they fare better than other times. So we'll see if the rain pummels them or not. But we're gonna go ahead and give it a try. As far as the seeds that I have started in bags and in trays, I wanted to also give you an update before I head to the actual garden and direct sow those seeds. So these are the seeds that I sowed in the Ziploc baggies and took them inside and grew them under lights. The minute they sprouted, I went ahead and brought them outside, but let's show you how they have fared. Turn this around so we can see the names, I think. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so first off, we have the dill. Look at that. Lots of dill sprouted. Asters have not come up yet, but those can take up to 21 days before they sprout. The purple basil has sprouted. Sweet peas, doing very well. Dahlias, yes. Calendula is ready to bust out of this bag already. Elecampane, lots of sprouts. What else do we have? We have chamomile. Chamomile has just started sprouting as well. These are Shasta daisies. Thyme. Some of the thyme has its true leaves, so I may be able to get that put in the garden very shortly. And then these are the gomphrena. Over here, what have we got? I don't think these sprouted very well. Okay, so I had trouble with the baby choy inside. I think it was just too warm under the lights for the sprouting of those baby choy. Chinese broccoli, same story. Either that or I planted them a little bit too deep, so germination was not good there. Eggplants. I thought these eggplants were not going to come up, and they surprised me. Red acre cabbage, lots. And last but not least, we have, what are you? Cylindria beets, or cylindrical beets. Okay, so now I did put quite a few seeds in each of these bags. And as you can see, some of them have germinated much better than others. That's the idea behind these bags. Like I said, it gets you to sow the seeds in a small space and see what comes up before you go through the process of uppotting, as opposed to having 10 million empty cells in a seed tray of 72. So it cuts me down on effort time, maybe. That's the logic that I use anyway. I went ahead and took the advice of one of the viewers of this channel, and I resowed some of the seeds, but the ones that I was having challenges with, I decided to take his advice. And I have to look back to see exactly who it was who gave me the advice, but I cannot remember at this moment. But I do want to say thank you very much, because I think it helped quite a bit. I went ahead and cut the seeds, the bigger seeds. I just kind of snipped the edge, or that's called scarification. So I did that on a few of the seeds, and then I sowed them in these trays and left them underneath this enclosure where the rain cannot pummel them, and the screen enclosure offers them a little bit of relief from harsh sun. Also, this area does not get a whole lot of sun except in the afternoon. So I think that was better than having them placed in the little nursery area where they would not sprout, to save my life. So what have we got here? Of course, it's turned the wrong way because I've been turning them so that they face the light so they don't get too leggy. Muskmelons, I got a bunch of those that popped up. Lemon cucumbers, Armenian cucumbers, China jade cucumbers, Copenhagen cabbage, the Chinese cabbage that refused to sprout in the bag, more red acre cabbage, sugar babies, yes, South Anna. Looks like there's one more trying to pop up. And these are spaghetti squash. Now, these were sown on the 31st of August, so I think they have popped up quite nicely and quite quickly. Over here, I popped in some purple potted pole beans in the areas that did not grow from July 25th and August 7th. That was the roselle, the sunflowers, and the cubanelles. They just did not pop up, so I used the soil and popped in a couple of the purple potted pole beans. That one did not pop up. Neither did this one. I may have left this cubanelle alone, though, because I was thinking maybe it's just taking a long time for them to sprout, but I think they're done. In here, what did I put? I put some more fennel. Some of it is here from the last time. This has not yet sprouted. We also got some opal basil that has not yet sprouted. And we have chamomile. I went ahead and resowed some chamomile in here, and that is coming up already from the 31st. I put in more Genovese basil, and that is popping up nicely. So I kind of went back and resowed in the spaces that were empty and left them out here to see if they would fare differently. And so far, so good. Dwarf teddy bear sunflowers. And this was a sunflower mix. Marigolds starting to come up. Holy basil doing definitely great. What are these? Scarlet kale, wonderful. All right. And then back here, same story. Let's turn them around. Okay. All from the 31st of August. There is the Golden Beauty Chinese cabbage, Jersey Wakefield cabbage. These are old seed. Calendulas, Bayet Alpha, cucumbers. We got 3 that have popped up and a couple that are still struggling. And in here, sweet peas. Who are you? Mexican sunflowers, dahlias. The sage has not come up. Cilantro. And in here, I have both purple basil and sweet basil. Those have come up. So I think the 31st round has done the best at germination thus far. The bags are doing pretty good too. All right, let's direct sow some seeds. What do I think I want to go with here? All right. Ooh, I got to start some snapdragons too. And I want to start some more Ella Campaign. So that is going to be my next round of sowings. I also want to start some celery. But I'm not going to direct sow these because the seeds are just way too small. They just get washed away quite easily. So I am going to go with, I'm going to do some beets. So we'll do some cylindra beets. And we will do direct sow. We won't do carrots yet. I want to wait a little while longer for the carrots because I just want it to cool down a bit more. I'm going to direct sow some kale too. Let's do the lacinato kale. And let's do the dwarf blue curled Scotch kale. So kale, should I direct sow this? We'll give it a go. All right. I think I'm gonna stick with those for now and see how they do. I think I want to do a little bit of the Chinese broccoli as well. Yeah, okay. So these are the things I'm gonna direct sow right now. These are the spaces that we are working with. We've got Vago bed number 1 and Vago bed number 2 over here. We've also got Vago bed number 3 over there. And as you can see, I've already put a couple of things in each of these beds. This one, I went ahead and transplanted a couple of cucumbers, and they are flowering. They're looking pretty small, but they were abused in the cells before I put them in this bed. And over here, I have direct sown a bush watermelon, bush sugar baby watermelon. Now the large watermelons have no chance of growing to maturity in my zone right now, enough to get a fruit. However, there is still a possibility with the tiny melons. It's getting pretty late in the season. This is probably the last time I'll be able to start them, and I don't know if I'll actually get a fruit, but I had the seed. I am determined, so I decided to go ahead and direct sow. In this new Vago bed that has recently been filled, I transplanted lemon cucumbers. They were over there in the tray in the patio, but they were a little bit more advanced. You can see we've got a true leaf there, so I went ahead and planted that. And I decided to cover because I've been able to get these cucumbers to germinate, but somewhere along the lines they die, and it's usually from some kind of pest pressure once they've actually germinated. So I'm going to try this out and see if it works. We have volunteer zinnias popping up left and right in this bed already. The peppers are pretty much done, except for this one. This one's still doing okay. This is the habanada pepper. I'll leave it there, but the others will get pulled. I transplanted the 2 sweet pea plants from I believe this was the earlier July sowing. This is what came of it, 2 sweet peas. We've got a purple potted pole beans. I went ahead and direct sowed some purple potted pole beans and sweet peas down here just yesterday. Yesterday was August 5th. And we have here transplanted a couple of the bush watermelon that survived. And I direct sowed a couple more in here. I think I'm going to plant directly in each of the 3 beds this morning. I'm not going to reserve any one specific bed for one specific thing this season. I am going to plant a diversity in each bed this season. So I think each bed will have some beets, each bed will have some Chinese broccoli, each bed will have some calendula and herbs and so on and so forth. I'm just gonna mix them all up and see what I get this season. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with her. All I plan to do is pull this straw back a bit in the areas where I want to sow. All right, we will start off with the beets. I have not yet been successful, or what I call successful, with growing beets. I've been able to get one or two here and there, but definitely not the success that I've been looking for. You can sow them pretty closely from what I understand. Each of these seeds, it's like a cluster of seeds, so there's more than one beet plant expected to grow from each seed. And some people say space them further, thin them out, but I've also learned from watching many YouTube videos from experts, which I am not, that you can pretty much plant them in a row and they will grow. And as you pick them, the ones that have been crowded will then begin to grow. So no need to thin them out. You can kind of just spread them across pretty thickly. I am going to be a little bit more conservative and just plant them this way. I'm not going to do a very thick row because I don't want to risk having them be piled up on top of each other and cause me issue. So I'm just going to do pretty closely spaced, just not a big row of them. There we go. And then I could just drop one every so often. It's probably a little bit less labor intensive. And then we just cover them over. And I've got to remember to label these. And of course, I should have pre-made a label because I'm notorious for forgetting where I plant things. Thank goodness for videos as diaries. All right, I'm going to plant another couple of rows of beets. It says they are 55 days to maturity. The delectable and tender stalks taste like a cross between asparagus and broccoli, only sweeter. It's a very easy to grow broccoli-like plant, and all plants are delicious. The selection from Thailand boasts good heat resistance. Just what I need. Tucking them in here. All right, next up, we have the dwarf kale. And we'll just sprinkle a few in the groove. We'll thin them out later as needed. Now for the lacinato kale. Go ahead and plant those. And now for the golden beauty cabbage. This I'm going to do a little bit differently because they do get pretty big. They need a little bit more space than the things that I've sown so far. So I'm just going to make little spaces where I want them to go. Here's a look. And pop a couple of seeds in each little space. This bed has her seeds. And not that much space left, guys. I've got to be cognizant of that because I still have seed starts that I got to put in, but I definitely want to replicate the same process, maybe not so many rows of the beets. I think it'll be easier to have the mulch laid down and just move it away than to sow the seeds and then have to try it and mulch around where I've sown. Now that the direct sowing is done, I figured this would be a pretty good time to give you an update on some of the beds. The new flower bed that I created, I went ahead and moved my cute little frog to this space instead and moved his sister, the robin, I think, to this bed. I have got to put some straw mulch on this one. I'll do that shortly. But I have foxtail ferns growing here, more pentas, another foxtail fern. This is a culantro, and this is some kind of daisy. I always forget the name of it. And then mums. I love how that turned out. This flower bed is still doing great. Plumeria has grown quite large and is still flowering. I love that. Oh, the pagoda plants that I put here are also doing well, still flowering. And the spaghetti squash, throwing out big flowers. Haven't seen a fruit yet, but I got my fingers crossed. Time to pick more longans. So I'll get that last batch of longans. I wanted you to see the cucumbers that I directly sowed late July. They are amazing me. Now I covered them because I just cannot afford to lose another crop of cucumbers to insects. Look at that. I even got flowers coming on. Everyone is looking quite happy. This may be how I do it from now on, provided this continues to do as well as it has done. Look, that is my pride and joy right now. This is a pomelo fruit. It's finally changed color, and I think it may be ready for picking today. If not today, then within the next couple days. I'm so excited. The beauty berries are fruiting. They are so pretty. Look at that magenta color. Oh, that is so pretty. The birds love these. I think that's all of the updates that I have for you today. Until next time, happy gardening. Thanks for watching and have a beautiful and blessed day.